Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Cubs Daily, hosted by me, Steven Ryan. This channel is your one-stop shop for all things Chicago Cubs. Breaking news, roster shakeups, and reaction to all things Cubs. Make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and comment down below. What does this Cubs team need to put them over the top? Is it a big bat? Is it a frontline ace? If you have a specific player in mind, guys, try to be, within reason here. But if there's a player in mind, drop them in the comment. I would love to hear all your guys' thoughts. I'll even react, see if I agree or not. But either way, let's jump right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Can you smell it in the air? The hot dogs are cooking, the beer is being poured, and baseball is in the air. And the Cubs have played baseball over the past few days. And want to go over some points with you guys that I saw. Spring training is about getting warmed up, right? It's about getting the arms loose, getting stretched, prepping the body for a 162 grueling game season. So, the main 25 guys in the beginning, they're only going to play the first few innings, but then they will get replaced by the younger, more talented prospects, which is the first one I want to go over with you guys, because I love getting to watch these prospects play in that official Cubs uniform. Now, their numbers are a lot higher, right? Pete Crow Armstrong was an example. He was number 52 last year, and they made him switch to number 4 because he's going to be on the big league roster this year. He's their starting center fielder. So another prospect that I'm really enjoying watching so far is Kevin Alcantara. If you guys remember, we got him in the Anthony Rizzo deal back in 2021. He was the big piece in that. He was only in slow ball rookie class, single A. He's 6'6". He weighs $185. But man, does he have great hitting potential, great hitting tools across the board. And so far, through the first 3 games, he has been an absolute stud, ladies and gentlemen. Batting .625, and he's driven in a run every single game. That's what you like to see. He's developing the consistency at the plate. He just needs to keep being molded over the next few years. And honestly, he might be replacing Ian Happ when his contract expires in a few years, or Seiya Suzuki, or maybe even if Kyle Tucker doesn't stick around. I hope the Cubs sign Kyle Tucker. But, again, backup plans always if necessary. Kevin Alcantara looking fantastic. Another young prospect who's looked very solid so far is Ben Cowles. Yesterday, if you watch the highlights, he hit an absolutely mammoth home run against the White Sox. The swing looking clean. He's looking solid. Again, I don't want to look too much into spring training because it is spring training. There's a lot of examples of guys who do very well in spring training and then they can't do it in the regular season. But it's fun to watch. It's exciting to see. Baseball is back. You just like to hear the ball make contact with the bat, and that is the beauty. A pitcher that the Cubs have had in their prospect last year, in their prospect organization, last year he got a little bit ticked. Porter Hodge, he was solid in his first outing. He didn't allow a run, so it's good to see the progression of these young guys over the periods of time, right? You just want to see development from year to year, especially in those younger years. Now, let's talk more about the main roster. Mostly everyone's going to be healthy, ladies and gentlemen, but the real question is about our main man, Nico Hoerner, and will he be ready for opening day? He had tender flexion surgery on October 11th, and honestly, he hasn't been allowed to really throw this offseason, so he just got back to throwing the ball. He's on a strict throwing program. His arm can only do so much every day. They're trying to build it back up for regular season play, so I expect him to be eased into the regular season. And again, Craig Counsell is absolutely fantastic at this, ladies and gentlemen. He's excellent at managing a roster. He's good at getting the most out of all the talent that's available to him. That's why we have John Birdie. That's why we have Vidal Brujan. Those guys are going to be able to step in and cover the damage until Nico gets back. But in the long-term picture, Nico's going to be needed for an NL Central title push. Now, the Cubs have a weird schedule this year because they play on March 18th. That's opening day in Japan, the Tokyo series. But domestic opening day is March 27th. I think the Cubs have a very legitimate chance for Nico to play on the domestic opening day. Very hopeful that he comes in for that Tokyo series. Would love to see the Cubs at full strength for that. But let's think long term here. We need to be ready for a September push for October. We want to get in the playoffs. That is the goal this year. So even though those first 2 games against the Dodgers do count in the regular season standings, in the grand scheme, they're going to be just 2 games Hopefully, the Cubs can bounce back if they don't win either one of those games. Now, Nico, he's going to be needed, like I said, right? Solid baseball player. He had just a little bit over a 2 WAR last year. Very solid hitter, great defender, Gold Glove defender, and a great base runner as well. Heads up base runner, knows when to take the extra base, the whole nine. He is going to be a game changer for the Cubs on the paths this year in some capacity. So we need him as fully healthy as possible, okay? That is going to be key for the Cubs to win the Central. Now, another potential key for the Cubs to win the Central. Who can they add to the ball club, right? That is the real question here. What players can make the Cubs elite and put them over the top to not only just win the Central, but make a deep run in the postseason? The addition of Kyle Tucker is absolutely tremendous. I just wish the Cubs would extend him right now because I know what Kyle Tucker's going to give me, okay? But the Cubs are still looking for one more significant bat, in my opinion. Another 30-plus home run guy. If the average comes with it, that's fantastic. A main target that a lot of people talked about this offseason was Vladimir Guerrero Jr., okay? Who got off to a slow start last year, if everyone recalls. He ended up with a 6.2 WAR, hitting .323 with 30 home runs. He is exactly the kind of player the Cubs are looking for. I do like the addition of Michael Busch. I do like what he gave us last year. But sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, it's not rocket science with how this works, okay? Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is an absolute superstar in Major League Baseball. Sign him, trade for him, do what you have to do, okay? Get him on the roster, and you will be good to go. Other names that the Cubs can revisit in this offseason free agency are like Pete Alonso. They looked at him last year. They didn't want to pay him that money. And I think they just kind of want to see what they got with Michael Busch, right? That's a fair thought on that prospect. Alex Bregman has a player opt-out after this year. So he could come back, and the Cubs, if they don't like what their situation is at third, they could pay him if they want to. But again, the other free agents are not very overwhelming in terms of big name star potential or power in the lineup. I love Bo Bichette, the player. I also love Josh Naylor. But I really, really do think if the Cubs are going to get that superstar bat, they're going to have to target it via trade. Now, if they want to get Vlad Jr., this is going to be the cheapest they're going to get him in terms of prospect potential, right? He's a free agent at the end of the year. If, he doesn't want to agree to an extension with us, then the Blue Jays can't really trade him for all that much because you're only renting him for half a year. Someone will rent him to help them win a World Series, obviously. But in the Cubs sense, they want to extend him long-term because he's just that kind of player. Now, another player that might become available here shortly, ladies and gentlemen, it hasn't been announced yet, but it could be Rafael Devers, okay? The power left-handed baseman for the Boston Red Sox. There's been a little tension in the locker room ever since Alex Cora announced that he's not guaranteed to play third base. It's not a lock given to him since the GM, Blue Chain, is no longer with the team. So, obviously, the media, we like to speculate. We like to jump onto it, and we're like, hey, is this going to be a fit here? Is this going to work out for them? They're not 100% sure, but is Rafael Devers a good fit for the sense of the Chicago Cubs? And I say yes, of course. Adding a superstar bat to your lineup, you figure out how to do it, all right? I know the name we were talking about earlier, right? Nico, big-time player. Again, sometimes sacrifices have to be made. If Nico isn't 100% right or his old self, we might have to move Matt Shaw to second because Matt Shaw has a lot of power potential in that bat. And Rafael Devers, that's another 30 home run guy. And he hits at least 270. A very, very good power bat, left-handed at Wrigley, is an absolute must for the Chicago Cubs. Now, they're going to have to give up some prospect potential, but the Cubs have great depth, like Kevin Alcantara or Ben Brown. They have or Cade Horton. They can give the Boston Red Sox a multitude of young prospects to land the likes of Devers. And I, ladies and gentlemen, would be all for it. Because right now the Cubs are kind of getting to the point where there's going to be a logjam of prospects and Major League ready talent. And they're already starting to extend that Major League ready talent, right? So like Dansby Swanson, he's going into year 3 of his 7-year deal. That means it's going to be our shortstop for the next 4 seasons. Any other shortstop, like Ben Cowles, for example, there's not going to be a place for him to play. So he might have to go elsewhere. Again, you got to remember, ladies and gentlemen, there's only 30 spots, 30 starting positions at each position in Major League Baseball. So there's only a limited number of spots. And sometimes you just got to make room for big-time names like Rafael Devers. Or, if we can get good at it, get both like Vlad Jr. and Rafael. Again, sometimes you got to make an upgrade, and that's what you have to do in this sense. Go get Devers, ladies and gentlemen. He's an absolute stud. So, let me know in the comments, like I said below, what player would you like to add to this roster to put them over the top? I went over a couple with you guys like Vlad Jr. and Devers. Those seem like the most reachable guys for us to get in this situation. But if there's another name that you guys are hearing out there, let me know in the comments. And again, like I said, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and get ready for more Cubs Daily. We'll be coming to you guys very, very soon. Hope you all have a good rest of your day.